So what happens when the law, the very system that's supposed to create order, becomes the ultimate tool for chaos? Today, we're going to dive into a story of a really terrifying transformation. We're going to explore the moment justice isn't just broken, but horribly perfected. This is the rise of the Red Judge. And it all kicks off with this chilling line from the jester, the guy who sets this whole thing in motion. These words, they're not just setting the stage, they're promising a kind of philosophical demolition. He's about to show us what's really hiding behind the shiny facade of authority. All right, Act 1, The Gilded Hollow. A stage is set for chaos. I mean, that title alone tells you everything you need to know, right? We're looking at a world that looks all fancy and valuable on the outside, but inside, it's just terrifyingly empty. Now you gotta picture this. The jester isn't just making a mess, he's putting on a performance. He's up on a high table, wearing a crown made of, get this, twisted forks and spilled wine, and he's acting like a rotting idol. He's literally becoming a symbol of the very decay he's trying to expose.
And this performance brings us to a really key concept, the willionaire. Now this is not your average fool. The willionaire is a special kind of jester, one whose supposed madness is actually a form of terrifyingly clear vision. Through all his mockery, he's basically holding up a mirror to a society obsessed with the illusion of value and showing them just how hollow they've really become.
So, next up, the uncanny mirror, an abyss for the High Judge. The jester's already been acting like a figurative mirror, right? Well, now he pulls out a literal one, and this thing is about to force a confrontation, not with an enemy, but with the self. Okay, so this is the moment everything changes. The jester holds up this mirror, but not to himself. No, he aims it right at the phantom of the High Judge, the guy who is law and order. And the judge is forced to look at something he's probably never even considered, the true nature of his own authority. So what is this uncanny mirror? Well, it's also called the void mirror, and trust me, it does not reflect your face. It reflects the absolute core of your beliefs. It shows you the terrifying abyss of your own principles. For the High Judge, this means he's about to stare right into the raw, unfiltered heart of his own legalism. And that brings us to the inferno of law, the collapse of order into fire. Because that gaze, it triggers the climax of the whole story. The reflection isn't a reflection anymore. It becomes an inferno, a complete collapse of order into a consuming, purposeless fire. This is the moment of transformation. There's actually a name for what the judge sees, the inferno of nihilism. And that name is just perfect. It perfectly captures the horror of it. The law, which is supposed to be a shield for people, is revealed in the mirror as its terrifying opposite, a consuming fire. It's a system of punishment that has totally forgotten why it exists and now just burns for the sake of burning. And the transformation itself is just gruesome. First, the reflection in the mirror twists into some kind of monstrous distortion, not even a man anymore. Then, the judge's velvet robes, the symbols of his power, they literally start to boil away, turning the color of arterial blood. And finally, the phantom itself convulses and is completely reshaped into a new, skeletal form. Which leads us to this. Behold the Red Judge, the perfection of punishment. From that horrifying reconstruction, a brand new entity emerges. This is the jester's masterpiece. This is the final architecture of the law, once you strip away all the pretense. And here's the crucial part. The Red Judge is the embodiment of active nihilism. This isn't just about sad, passive despair. Oh no, this is about destruction as a creative act. The Red Judge is a doer, an entity of pure action that needs no reason. Its only purpose is punishment for its own sake. And its sentence? It's always zero. Absolute, final, and totally empty of meaning. Let's just put them side by side for a second. The High Judge was a shadow of obligation, the symbol of authority, and he used a gavel. The Red Judge is pure active nihilism, driven by a thirst for punishment, and it wields a branding iron. The tool of order has been replaced by a tool of pure, unadulterated pain. And this is when the jester lets out this triumphant, absolutely terrifying cry to the Horned Guardian, who's just watching in horror. He claims he hasn't destroyed the law at all. No, in his twisted view, he simply revealed its true perfect form. Punishment without the pretense of justice. So we reach the final act, a deed consumed.
The final mockery. The jester's work is pretty much done here, and the result is this permanent, grotesque monument to his whole nihilistic philosophy.
And the final image is just haunting. The red judge doesn't speak, it doesn't move, it just stands there, a silent, burning sentinel presiding over the same ruined feast where this whole thing started. It's now a permanent fixture, a testament to what the source calls the saga of frenzy. So what was the jester's ultimate victory? Well, he turned the king's justice into an inferno. He completely mocked the Horned Guardian's warnings, and then he just shatters his own fake crown, his work complete. But most importantly, he proved his terrifying point, that in the end, the doer, the one who acts, is always, always consumed by the deed itself. And that leaves us with one heck of a final question to think about. This whole story forces us to ask, if you strip away all the justifications, all the philosophy and morality from our systems of order, what's really left at the very bottom? Is it justice? Or is it just a simple, unending thirst for punishment?